Hey guys, so in this video, I just want to talk about social media. So just last week, I was in my European Union integration and disintegration class, and we were talking about the European Union's response to social media, and how they've actually received threats from Twitter, like Elon Musk and everything, about companies saying they're gonna pull out due to the restrictive data policy laws and security. And I think it's again one of these problems where people are trying to adapt capitalism to a better system when that's not what we should be we're focusing on the wrong thing, because capitalism is unjust. It's wholly naturally supposed to be unjust. And so I think that's what people are getting confused. Like this data selling, if you want to be able to use a thing for free like TikTok with all the other social media, you have to be able to pay the price. There's always a price, and the price is your data. And so it's kind of what we've been discussed, like should we make it where you can either say I don't want you to use my data, but so you have to pay for it, or you can use my data and I don't have to pay for it. Because I think that's what people aren't understanding. These social media companies don't do it out of the good of the house. They're making money off of us. Well, it's kind of like, it doesn't even make any sense. And that's also why I support like Weibo, like what China has done by having its own government social media, because I'm public over private. Like, I of course don't believe in private companies. I believe everything should be public. And so it's why like in China having its own social media. And now I even heard today in my European Union integration and disintegration class about the new digital euro, which is to take away power from Visas and MasterCards, which originate from the United States, and to make their own system just for Europeans. And it would be mandatory use to protect data and to protect against foreign intrusions. And so it's why I do believe we should be having, each government should have its own social media system. And obviously, if you don't want that and you want it to be public, if you want it to be private, owned, then of course you're going to have to deal with these issues. And I think it's one of the main confusions is that corporations are not out for us. Like, the only reason unions were invented, and unions, I think, is the worst mistake of all time, because this has made capitalism to survive more and thrive more. Because unions were made because companies didn't care about the people. And they still don't. The only reason they care is because they need workers, and people won't do it without unions. This is also why a lot of people who are hating on immigrants, it's because immigrants or refugees who don't have money and are struggling will do dangerous jobs and will do non-unionized jobs, even though it pays very little and is very dangerous, because that's all they can afford. And it's kind of the disproportionate from the global north and the global south is because of this issue. And I think it's a main problem. And I think, of course, I'm surprised I didn't really think about it before about social media, but in a world government, which is what I'm proposing, I would have system like China with a one social media platform, because I think people should always be connected. And I'm hoping that in recent technology, like if Neuralink ever becomes a thing in neural implants, that we can have technology and questions at our fingertips, and that we can use AI and maybe integrate it with ourselves to make sure that we have all the information we'll ever need and we'll be able to stay connected forever. And also, I have made my opinions clear about the collective consciousness, and I think that is a main part about social media, is it's a step towards collective consciousness, because we're here chatting and explaining our ideas and becoming more homogenous in a sense and trying to do that. And I think also about the European Union is I wish I was born in Europe, because the European Union, I think, can be the key to world government and how it turns out, and it can help the rest of the world. Because the problem is, there are only two choices: to make it supranational, federal state, or to make it, or to go back to the way systems were with a nation state. And the thing is, they won't decide, and they're trying to make a middle ground, but that's impossible. So when people talk about the democratic deficit, that's built in. Like in the United States, they have limits of democracy, and it's the same in the EU. The democratic deficit is by design. And it's the same thing we're talking about the euro and the Eurozone crisis. And the only problem is that the crisis is designed. There's no way around a crisis unless you make a decision. You can't go down the middle without facing problems. And a big problem with the euro is that they're not making a decision, and you can't have intergovernmental and supranational. It doesn't make any sense. And we need to go away from this sovereignty and go towards hegemony and one state. Because how is it fair that one person, depending on where they're born and depending on their status and the amount of money they have, determines the rest of their life? And it's one of the, if you're born rich, you're probably, unless you do something really stupid, you're gonna die rich. If you're born poor, most likely chances, except the few exceptions, you're gonna die poor. So this whole, these cases of Elon Musk, like poor people to billionaires, that's the exception, that's not the rule. And that's the whole point of this adaptation, is to make people and the media, we can say the media is independent, but it's not. It's a private company. So of course, billionaires who might own it can put their thoughts into it, and it's why on the media you don't really hear about world government. Or all you hear is how bad it would be. Because who's paying for it? Capitalists. And they probably make money just by going against it. And that's why I've heard all the time, you're a supporter of China's paying you. No, no one's paying me. Honestly, if I was born in China, I'd probably be dead by now. And it's also, people say there's so much security and all that. I'm surprised because I haven't been attacked yet. So I think it's also a conspiracy over that. But I just wanted to say the biggest problem is people don't want to accept something for the way it is, and don't accept things in natural state. And sometimes there is gray area, but sometimes there's just only two options, and you can't make a middle way. Sometimes you have to choose. And that's just all I wanted to say. Thank you, guys.